Good evening, Posh Bertie.
Lee.
I'm ready.
Lee Meadows.
I'm back. Gooner Gathering. It's that time. And I'm joined by the poshest man in the sports entertainment today. Posh Bertie, how are you, mate?
I'm on cloud nine. I'm on cloud nine, Mr. Meadows. It is excellent. We've had an amazing win yesterday. Absolutely historic, fantastic, the best result I've seen. But that's enough about Ebbsfleet. Arsenal.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew it. It's been
home
a good
to Fleetwood
weekend.
Town, by the way. But we'll probably get to that later. But anyway, Arsenal beat Chelsea. It's excellent. Yes, and Emery did us a favour as well. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm good. I'm away from the day job, so I'm having a little bit of time trying to figure out YouTube land again and trying to get things to work, and they don't always. But no, I'm up for a bit of a laugh and talking all things Arsenal and everything in between. How's your week been, mate? You've been all right?
It's been very good. It's been very good, as I said. I'm doing very well. Obviously, the football has been great, and yeah, I'm tickety boo, as some people would say. I'm very gravy.
Different gravy, I would suggest. Fair enough, mate. Well, I think what we'll do today, I think we'll go through a few before we talk about the match from yesterday at the Bridge. We'll go through a few little headlines, a few little bits of news, a few little fun things to go along, and then we'll go through talk about little bits and pieces of the match itself. So we'll go to World Cup news before we talk about anything else. I will highlight this there. Martinelli and Jesus get their call up for Brazil today, but Gabriel, that's the centre half, Gabriel. He misses out. And then just your thoughts on that one, first of all.
Well, as Meatloaf once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, and 2 Gabriels out of 3, I'd take that. And it's good to see Jesus and Martinelli in the squad for Brazil. It's a shame that Gabriel, the centre half, is out. It's really a shame. I do feel sorry for him because he's played very well for us, and I thought maybe he would get a good call up for Brazil. Sadly, that's not the case. I think he should have been called up, but that's the way it goes, I'm afraid. But hopefully we get to see Martinelli have some game time for Brazil. It's going to be tough because that squad is stacked. That team is one of the heavy favourites to win the entire tournament. But I hope to see a good portion of Martinelli playing for Brazil.
I think it'll be a very interesting experience for the young man. I don't know how much actual game time he'll get out there at all. But it definitely merits his call up, that's for sure. Jesus has been maybe a little bit off the boil of late for Arsenal. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But he's very worthy of his call up as well. So that's Brazil taken care of. I will just touch a little bit on Japan, and Takehiro Tomiyasu has got his call up for their squad. Now, last time we saw him, he made that very brief cameo appearance in the Europa League. It lasted about 15 minutes and he got taken off again. Never featured on Sunday's game, but if he has the call up, I would suggest maybe that's not too bad. And again, pleased for him. Just hope he gets more than 2. You know, he gets a little bit of a reputation of being like 2 games and he's missing out. We often called him 2-game Tommy on Cannon Chatter. But I think his ability to hit both fullback positions and just when he's on the pitch, his attacking abilities, I think, are excellent. So I think it gives them a very, very good option.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pleased that he's called up. It was expected, I think. I think he had a bit of a chance. Because I'll be honest, I don't know much about Japan's World Cup squad. Kenzuki Honda and Shinji Kagawa don't play anymore really for
No,
well
no.
for the internationally anyway. So I don't know much about the squad anymore. But I'm pleased that Tomiyasu's in the squad. I hope he does well for them. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it'll be good to see him in action in the World Cup.
Fair enough. Excellent stuff. Right. So another little bit of fun news that I've come across over this last week, and it concerns former Arsenal and Chelsea goalkeeper Peter Cech. And with any luck, there he
Oh,
is.
there he is.
There he is himself.
Oh my God.
So, as you, I'm sure the millions
And
and millions
millions.
of our viewers will realise that Peter has not played football for a many number of years. He's now in his 40s, but he's just literally he'll be playing about a mile away from where I'm broadcasting from. He's signed for the Chelmsford Chieftains ice hockey team, and remarkably, he made his debut for the club. And I'm not going to suggest I'm an ice hockey fanatic or a fan of any description. I have a very good friend of mine, her name's Shell, and if she sees this, hello to you, my friend. I appreciate your message. So, yeah, he got played against Oxford yesterday. He got man of the match in the Chieftains 6-4
Excellent.
win. 6-4 win in, as I said, against Oxford. So I thought that's quite fun, and it's quite nice to see Czech not having the suit on and just out there. He's a man of. He's always had many sporting interests. Obviously, he's had a massive footballing career, and he's out there enjoying himself just down the road from us. I think that's quite fun.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's unexpected. I was surprised when you texted me this, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay, this is strange." But I'm pleased for him. I'm pleased that he's got a new kind of I don't know if it's a new career, but maybe it's a hobby of some sort. I don't know, but I'm pleased that he's got something exciting to do there, and if he's happy,
Exactly.
then that's brilliant.
Exactly. I mean, we're much. We've got plenty of sports talent round this way, my friend. I bumped into
Yes.
former England cricket captain the other day, Alistair Cook, down the
Mm.
road. So
Yeah.
adding to the talent that's on show here, obviously. So
Chelmsford have a lot of talent. It's a shame they couldn't replicate that in 2017 when they lost to Ebbsfleet in the playoff final. But what can you do? That was
as
5 years
mentioned,
ago.
as mentioned many moons ago on another channel, perhaps.
Yes.
Hey, steady on.
Not think of the
Right.
game. But yeah, go on.
Absolutely. So I think maybe it's a good time to perhaps talk a little bit about the Arsenal versus Chelsea game. So this is,
Absolutely.
and I think probably the best way to start is by just having a little look at that team there. And one thing that struck me straight away from seeing that lineup is the inclusion just in there of Zinchenko, left back. Now, I'm semi concerned about Kieran Tierney and
Mm.
the fact that he had an absolute blinder in the Europa League. Of course, he
Yeah.
scored that fantastic goal, but he can't seem to keep his position in the team. I think the first question I have for you is, do you have any worries about KT, either short term or long term?
No, I think obviously Tierney had a bit of fitness problems earlier this season.
Mm.
It was touch and go at the start, wasn't it? But he played. Sometimes filled in when Zinchenko was injured, and
Mm.
Tomiyasu played at left back as well for some reason. I think he is at this time. I think he's probably a backup left back for Zinchenko at the moment if he's fully fit.
Mm.
I think if obviously we won't be getting any midweek games at the moment because the World Cup's coming up. But then I think he'll be a midweek game player when Zinchenko rests. I think Zinchenko's our first choice left back when he's fit.
So I've got no concerns in terms of either one of them. Is in fact that's
No,
one
I don't think he's
position.
going to leave. He's not going to leave in January. No, I don't think
Yeah,
that at all. I'll be very surprised if he does. I think he's here to stay. Who knows what happens next season? Anything's unpredictable. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. But I think
yeah.
he's definitely here to stay. Uh, come the end of the season. That might be famous last words, but who knows?
Who
I'm
knows?
confident. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
confident he's here to stay. He should
I
be
think
because he's very good. I rate him.
absolutely, and I will say, it's left back is not really a concern that we have filling in on the park. I'm quite happy to play
Mm.
Zinchenko. I've got to say, I thought when Tomiyasu played against Liverpool and filled in that game, I thought he did tremendously well as well.
Yeah.
Maybe other games it hasn't maybe necessarily gone so well, but it's one position I think we're quite happy to play. And I think you said with KT there. My
Mm.
thought process is that they are being a bit clever with him in time management and trying to sort of maybe play him like you said in the midweek. I would not be surprised to see Kieran line up against Brighton in the cup coming up this week
Yeah.
in the cup, and
Oh
then of
yeah, I
course
forgot that as well. I
and
forgot
then
about
we
that. Yeah.
switch it up
Mm.
again on
Yeah.
the late game, which we will probably bring to you as a quote chat along trademark potentially on
Okay. I'll come back to you
Saturday
on that
night
one. I think I'll be all right there.
potentially.
Mm.
If not, Joey Styles it, mate. Don't worry. I've been there. I've done it before. Do I need to explain wrestling references on here anymore? I don't know. They should
No,
know
this
us
is
by
our
now.
channel. This is our channel. We can. This is our house.
Oh, this is our house. All right, Soraya, calm down, will you?
Don't make me do a Ross Twaddell style impression of. No.
Boss, what are you doing?
What are you doing? No. Don't
Sponsored
damage
by
my voice.
Cultaholic Wrestling. No, that's not. Uh, bringing it back. Bringing it back. Okay. So now it's time to get serious because this was a massive game for us in the Premier League. Especially, my thoughts were looking at Manchester City on the Saturday. They managed to get their win against Fulham, which I'm not bitter about at all. After the Cancelo got himself sent off, and
Well, I
it looked
mean, a
it
lot
looked
of
like they want to get a draw.
a lot of fantastic Premier League teams are do struggle against Fulham, as we know. But we
Some of
know
them
what
do.
it's like. We know what it's like to play against Fulham, and we know what it's like to struggle against them.
Yeah.
And City managed to in the last possible minute, because I was at the Ebbsfleet game when I saw on the phone Erling Haaland 95th minute penalty. I thought, for God's sake. I thought that's got
I'm
a
glad you said
screwy
that and
record.
nothing else.
That's got an Etihad screw job written all over it. That has.
Oh, no kidding as well.
That will sit.
So, like I said, yeah, Holland got his last minute penalty just about after they've saying, but you might not know this. I was watching Soccer Saturday, and I think was it Clinton Morrison? It was Clinton Morrison covering it, and it's saved. Oh no, it's not. It's in. Oh, goodness sakes, unbelievable, Jeff. But I thought it was so important after they did what they did for us to get back on top of the table. We started to look. We talked about the team here looking nice and strong. Very nice to see Saka in our midfield again. By the way, after his little bit of a scare, and I can't really talk about the whole match itself because I was busy bouncing on a trampoline. This is a true story.
Excellent. So,
I was
you were
learning
doing that voluntarily, weren't you? You were doing that on your own, just in your spare time.
in my own I was learning how to work, mate. I was learning how to do the Jeff Hardy swanton bombs.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a lovely impromptu. Just moving away from football just a little bit because it's more personal stuff. We met up with one of my daughter's mates from a class from last term, and it was a complete surprise to both of them. We kept it all quiet. We were going to go to a soft play area. It didn't happen, but we found somewhere else down the road, and we were jumping up and down on trampolines. It was fantastic stuff. So I never saw the 90 minutes. I don't have the BT Sport coverage, but I do have quite a good knowledge on how the game went itself.
Yeah.
Something I want to bring up is how Arsenal played their football. I would think it's probably fair to say over the last couple of games, Premier League, Southampton, I would say in the Europa League as well, maybe not necessarily hitting the heights of the Liverpool game itself, but I thought we were looked much more like our free flowing selves, perhaps, especially moving from the
Mm.
keeping calm, more moving the ball from one end of the field to the other, from the defence to the attack.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we played very well.
Mm.
It's just so good to finally see us turn up against the big boys. Like this time, around this time, this in an average football season,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be ranting and complaining, saying the manager needs to go and our players are useless and everything is so bad and I hate it here. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm happy about it. I'm not used to this.
Sorry,
You know?
headphone users.
Oh, did I not? No, I'm not
Ah,
used. I'm not
you're
used
getting.
to this.
I know, mate. I know it's difficult. I know. I know. But we are gathered here today in the Gooner Gathering to talk about this. It's fine.
But no, as I said, usually I'd be complaining, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
ranting, I'd be
Yep.
everything under the sun. But I'm not. I'm happy. It's so nice to see us turn up against teams that usually like to batter us 5-0. Um, but now, well, it's usually it's teams that we usually struggle against. Although I say Chelsea, Mikel Arteta is undefeated at Stamford Bridge as a manager.
Righty, you just beat me to it. I was going to
Oh,
remind. I was going to remind you that we won over there last term. But this was. It was the
yeah,
Eddie Nketiah game. It was the Eddie Nketiah
it
show.
was. It was.
My
I
boy.
was.
My boy.
I know. I wasn't at that game. I was too busy being inside some ropes. So I was busy. I was sadly not available to see that game. But I saw the result and I was absolutely ecstatic because we needed that because we were in a bad run of form.
Yeah, indeed. But we were back to form, I would suggest, on Sunday. Um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Saka's treatment on the game and over the last few weeks? Mikel Arteta, in his post-match interview, was saying how nice and calm, and I'm pretty much quoting him here, he was on the touchline about the treatment that our crown jewel in our midfield got. Your thoughts on this one?
Yes. I mean, he is the crown jewel of the Arsenal team, and the match against Chelsea really was a super showdown of two great teams against. Look, okay, I I am pleased that Saka seems to be okay.
Mm.
Um, Stamina wise,
Yeah.
you may remember time and again I was concerned about how okay, yes, you could say Reece Nelson, but there were times when we didn't have a backup for Saka and how he was playing game in, game out, and I
Yeah.
just thought he'd get really tired, he'd get injured at some point, and he'd miss the World Cup. There was
We were
concerns about
terrified over the weekend, weren't they? The weekend
yeah,
previous.
I guess there were concerns at Nottingham Forest when he went off the pitch, and there were concerns before the Chelsea game when he wasn't warming up with the team. And he went back out though, so he probably went to the loo or something.
The
I
poor
don't
guy
know.
can't even go for a Waz, can he?
I know you can't you can't catch a break, but
No,
I'm pleased to see that he seems to be okay. He seems to be
absolutely.
okay, which is a good thing.
And he was integral in the goal in the
Mm.
63rd minute, I want to say. There it is. I had written it down on my trusty clipboard. 63rd minute, Arsenal corner comes in. It misses about, I've counted about six Chelsea players in the penalty area.
Mm.
It's missed
Mm.
everyone. And it's hit our friend Gabriel to make the
Yeah.
dreams come true again. He probably nicked the
Yeah, and
goal off
again, it
and got
makes me
back
wonder
up.
why wasn't he called up for Brazil? It's still it's baffling even thinking about it. But Yeah, he scored the goal. He's been scoring a lot for us as a centre back. He's
Yeah, he
yeah,
scored at least a couple this season for us, just off the top of my
mm,
head.
good at
With
winning headers from corners, and he
mm,
is yeah. I'm pleased that he got the goal for us because we're managing to beat first Tottenham, then Liverpool, and then Chelsea. Like we're challenging for the title, and I can't believe I'm saying this.
Jeebus, Jeebus. I'm going to go with the one game at a time thing here.
I know, but it feels
Uh,
like it. We've beaten three. We've beaten
yeah,
three big boys. Yes, I know you're probably going to say two big boys in Tottenham, but let's be honest.
I
Be
wouldn't say
realistic
that.
here.
I'm
We
more
beat
grown up than
three.
that.
Yeah, we beat three big teams that we usually struggle against,
Yeah,
and like we're putting up a fight this season, and
we
it's
certainly are.
I'm pleased. But yeah, a good goal from Gabriel to break the deadlock at Stamford Bridge.
Absolutely. I want to just as I press a couple of buttons here, so hopefully this will still work. Um, I want to bring up Chelsea's Thiago Silva in just summing up the game. I thought in a game where they were finding it quite difficult. If it wasn't for how good he defended in particular, as I just accidentally bring up sulking
Oh
Aubameyang.
no, this is a great picture.
I'll talk about him in just a second. So
Okay.
that's what that. But yeah, mention that how well Thiago Silva done in his back line, and if it wasn't for him, perhaps it could have been an awful lot worse for the Blues.
Mm.
You got anything for me?
Yeah, I think Thiago Silva did very well against us. I thought, he's a very experienced centre back,
Yeah,
uh, and he's like 38, 39, and he still performs very well. He's a very good centre back. So yeah, he did put up a good fight against us.
he did, and he took a hell of a bump the weekend beforehand. Did you see him land on his head? On
Yeah, yeah, that's. But he seems to be okay. But yeah,
he's all
it's
good.
didn't look good there.
No, indeed it didn't. Um, One other thing I'll bring up before I talk about the former skipper. Did you see the potential VAR or the handball that I think VAR probably missed and I think should have probably been given? I'll give your thoughts on this. Cucurella on the handball.
Yes. Um, Cucurella, discount Joe Wicks, I like to call him. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he, yeah, I did see that, and yeah, it probably, the referee probably should have given it, but I think if we didn't win, I probably would have been a bit more focused on that and said, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is if that happened, we would have won." But I'm, yeah, I'm trying to remember it, but yeah, I do. There was a lot of complaints from various Arsenal fans saying the ref should have given it,
Looks a
but
bit a handball in a very sort of dodgy kind of position from the clip
yeah,
and the still that I've seen today as I was getting ready to do this today. So,
mm,
but there
yeah,
you go. Another one another centre back I want to mention I thought was fantastic. I think it's definitely worth giving Saliba a bit of a shout out
mm,
because he was again phenomenal, not just in his defensive work but his usage of the ball as well.
yeah. I think he has been brilliant for us.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm excluding that own goal he scored against Leicester, but that was ages ago. He has redeemed himself since then. He has been a great defender for us, and
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of his work. I always argued last season saying he should be recalled from loan because we
yeah,
need some help defensively. And I'm glad to see him playing for us this season because he has improved our defense tenfold. Him and Gabriel as a back pairing have been brilliant for us.
absolutely, absolutely. So now's probably a good time to put up this fantastic picture. There he is.
Hang it in the Louvre. Look at that.
So this picture, Mr. Aubameyang, I want to bring up his as I alluded to on my intro, which I definitely hadn't scripted and definitely wasn't practicing for a little while earlier on today. Gave it the big one on the BT Sports advert. Other TV networks are available.
Mm.
giving it the on their promo package, and yeah, I know I'm not giving him a big hard time really. I know he was given the script to say and all this sort of thing,
Mm.
but I would suggest to you that the former Arsenal skipper had a bit of a tough day at the office on Sunday.
I know, what a shame. But no, I back when he left
Mm,
and we struggled, I was saying, oh, maybe we shouldn't have got rid of him. Maybe, oh, I don't know. Arteta might come to regret that. I'm not sure. And
mm-hmm.
I was always a bit on the fence about this. But now I think, and now we see to be doing well without him. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to be wrong there. And I
Uh,
think,
yeah.
you know, he I've not really been keeping up to date with him in Chelsea. I don't know if he's done all right or not. But he
I
only had.
believe he's got one goal, and I
Mm,
believe one of the reasons he signed for the Blues was because of Thomas Tuchel. That went well.
that went very well, and now look at him there. He's on the bench. Well, he came off. He came on the bench
I
after the
yeah,
first half. And yeah,
I
he
believe he
only
went
had
off.
what, like a few touches of the ball. He didn't perform
Oh, I've
that
got it
well.
written down. I've got it written down. He had
There you
8
go.
touches of the football in the 60 odd minutes that he was on the field, and 2 of them touches were in his own penalty box. So it's quite fun to see that after he was the promo that he shot, obviously
Mm,
with the guidance of a BT Sport
yeah.
producer, that it
It
came
wasn't.
back
It
to
wasn't.
bite him a
It
little bit.
wasn't a pipe bomb.
No, not quite, not quite, not quite.
No,
But
it was a work shoot, brother.
and it's funny what you said about the him going in January and all that sort of stuff.
Mm,
I was kind of on the same sort of thinking.
yeah.
It was a massive decision for Arsenal
Mm,
to release him like they did. He had, yeah. In fairness,
mm,
he didn't do too bad at Barcelona, I guess. But
yeah.
I was somewhat surprised to
Mm,
see him end up at Stamford Bridge. But
mm,
for Arsenal themselves, actually, I would say this. I did see a little clip just before we went on air
mm,
of the team. So as they before the kickoff, they go around across each other, shake each other's hands, and all that. It looks like he's still on pretty decent terms with one or two of the Arsenal lads. I guess I certainly saw his interaction with Xhaka, but yeah, I do think personally, certainly after reading the interview from Mohamed El Nini, the dressing room is certainly a better place. Arteta has more control of it, which is how it should be. I think
mm,
we're in a better place without him at the club. It's sad to say. He had some great moments for us. I won't deny that. We go back to
yeah.
the FA Cup winning game. In fact, that was against Chelsea as well, wasn't it? How fun is that? But
Yeah, the FA Cup win. Yeah, that was a good day. I remember that.
absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, like I say, it was quite nice to see that image. It actually reminded me. I think just before all the drama kicked off with Aubameyang at Arsenal, and the transfer to Barcelona. I remember when I was sort of working out how all
Mm,
this streaming worked.
yeah,
I was doing on my Twitch channel, that's Gooner Lee Mead, twitch.tv/
yeah.
Gooner Lee Meads.
Plug.
Thank you. It's been inactive for 6 months or so since Canon Chatter days, but
I know
never
that
mind.
feels.
Yeah, mate. But I did one of them. I'll call it chat along because you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And it was the North London derby, and Arteta made that brave call not to start him. He was pretty much in that position there, sulking on the Arsenal bench that day.
Mm,
After another sort of disciplinary issue, I'm going to get rid of him now. There we go. And it kind of, just seeing him on that position just there kind of reminded me of the
mm,
attitude that he seemed to lay off, not just from back in Arsenal days, but if you go back into his time in Germany as well, when he
okay.
kind of forced the move from Dortmund to
Mm,
Arsenal, and he sort of carried that little bit of baggage around with him, didn't he?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it does feel that way.
Mm,
But he did give us some good memories in the
yeah,
team. But people said he had an attitude problem. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't really. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't know about these things.
Mm.
So
Fair enough.
but it seems that even though some people at the time said we shouldn't have got rid of him, including a certain former television journalist who we're not allowed to mention because it might risk us swearing, but PM is his initials. We think said we should never have got rid of Aubameyang. It's a terrible decision. It looks like the
Mm,
morale in the dressing room has improved ever since, and
yeah,
we
I
seem
agree.
to have got better, got more unity in the squad. So, from what I
Perfect.
see,
Perfect.
I thought
Okay.
we shouldn't have got rid of him back in the day, but I think it's fair to say I've been proven wrong, and I'm happy that I've been proven wrong.
I found it very interesting seeing the documentary on Amazon
Hmm.
and seeing exactly how it all went down and
Yeah.
how it was all forced through. And
Hmm.
it's not it's not the example I want to see my captain go through. It's not when I started watching the Arsenal and everything. Tony Adams was my skipper, and
Hmm.
big shout out to Tony on Strictly, by the way. What a man! What a legend he is. Um, you couldn't even see anything like that happening around. You wouldn't
Hmm.
imagine seeing Tony just
Hmm.
taking a car up to Manchester, or he'd probably get driven, but or whatever, and goes, oh, I'm going to force
Hmm.
this move to Man United or whatever. It never will sit well with me. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much as I want to deal with Mr. Aubameyang. Next little subject I do want to talk about. There's a couple of little points I want to go to. Then I'm going to bring up a little highlight for you, which is going to be the Ebb Sleep
Hmm.
highlight of the week. But I want to just talk about Jesus a little bit. And he's gone through a bit of a run of games. I think it's along the lines of about 8 now, where
Yeah.
he has not scored.
Hmm.
Does that concern you, bother you at all? Or are you of the mindset that he's still contributing and there's no real cause for alarm?
Yeah, we're still contributing. We're thankfully in at this point in time, we're in a fortunate position where we don't have to rely on a single striker to
Mm,
score all the goals for us. It's not like that period in 2013-14 when we had to rely on Giroud as our only striker to score
hmm
a few goals for us. Obviously, we had plenty of players back then that could, but I'm just using an example here.
Yeah, yeah, I get
But
you.
I think we now have a team where players like Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka, even Gabriel, the centre back, can score goals for us now, and it's. I think we are a team. We're like a team. We don't want to compete, and it's very it's great that as a team we can a lot of players can score more goals rather than the actual strike. We don't have to rely on one striker to score.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely concerned. I've not been concerned about Jesus's goal drought as I have maybe previously. If even
Mm,
when Aubameyang or Lacazette played for us, I
yeah.
wouldn't be concerned about Jesus as I was probably when they played for us. If that makes sense.
Yeah, indeed.
We're actually
Just,
doing well. So maybe it's because of that. I'm not really
yeah.
that focused on the negatives this time, which is always a
Yeah, yeah.
breath of fresh air to me.
It's definitely, mate. Um, my part of my thought process was, does he get a start in the cup against Brighton? I'll come back to Brighton
Oh, I
in a
thought you meant the
minute.
World Cup because I was going to say Vinicius Junior is going to play up front for Brazil. He'll be on the bench, but
Yeah, yeah,
I think he I hope so because I think Nketiah had a stinker against PSV. So I'm not sure about.
yeah.
He's very touch and go at the moment, but I don't know. I think it'll be a bit of a rotated squad. I'm not sure if he will play. I think it might be Nketiah up front. We'll have to see how it goes.
I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to go back to that after it's your time to shine, my friend. It's that time again. It's Posh Bertie's.
Bertie's every update of the
We
week. Yes,
hit me with some
indeed.
FA Cup news, mate.
Oh my God, we beat Halifax Town. We took them to the bank, if you will. We took Halifax to the bank, and we beat them. Oh God, what was it? I can't remember. Was it 2-1, 3-1? It was 2-1,
2-1.
2-1 to Ebbsfleet. Yeah, and they're in the league above us. They're in the National League. However, they were around the bottom half of that league. So I thought, you know what, we could do something. We're at the top of our league. They're at the bottom of the league below us. We could do something here, cause a bit of a cup upset, and we did. It was a fantastic result. The attendance was the biggest I've seen it in a while. 2,099 people were there.
Nice.
Usually our expected attendance is around 1,400, 1,500. On a good day, it's about 1,800. Here, we got 2,099 people. That's what happens when a non-league team does very well and starts making headlines. You get a new crowd there, and it's good. The atmosphere was incredible. Everyone is so happy. The morale there is fantastic. I do worry that we might go through the old Arsenal route, being that it only takes one bad result for us to fall and fall and fall, and hopefully that's not the case. But we're through to the FA Cup second round, and what a draw we've got. We've got home to the Cod Army, Fleetwood Town. We took Halifax to the bank. Will we batter the Cod Army? Look at that, I'm a man of segues today.
Oh, fantastic, mate.
But yeah, it's going to be incredibly tough. Fleetwood are they in League 2 or League 1? I will have a look now.
League 2, I think.
I'm gonna oh no, hang on. I will just double check here.
Okay then. I would imagine it'll be a big old tie, possibly on the TV. I would imagine.
Yeah, I think they're in League 1 actually.
They're League 1. Wow. Well,
oh no!
I tell you what.
Here they are. Yeah, they're in mid-table in League 1. And right. I don't know how they play. Apparently, they might be quite they might be quite defensive. A lot of teams do go a bit defensive and scrappy against us because they're trying to park the bus against us, so to stress us out because we're very good. And it's been brilliant. And I want to give a shout out to Rakesh Bingham, our big striker up front. Him and Dom Polion. I want to know Dom Polion. That's what the fans chant. Makes no sense, but it's always great. Rakesh Bingham, the big man up front, he scored the winner for us, and honestly, he needs to get on the plane to Qatar. Get him on the World Cup. Get Chris Sully in instead of Harry Maguire. Get Ebbsfleet players in. Definitely. We do have a good supporter of fans as well in the behind the goal, and they have a great song for Chris Sully, who's one of our defenders. He's quite a short defender. The fans sing, "Chris Sully, Sully, he's only 5'3". He's better than John Terry. Chris Sully, Sully." Yeah, we've got a good creative bunch of fans. A great club, a great tie, and hopefully we can cause a magic of the FA Cup moment. It's going to be tough, but if we get into the third round, Ebbsfleet versus Arsenal, it's still on. It's still on the card. My juices are titillating about that prospect, but I think Fleetwood might put a stop to that. Who knows? Anyway, this is not an Ebbsfleet channel. This is
it's not. But I'll give, while we're talking FA Cup, a quick shout out to Jumpster City. You got a 1-1 draw at Barnet as well. Fantastic result.
Okay,
that is a heck of.
I was going to say that's not a derby. Is that a derby?
No. Well, Barnet are in sort of London way, aren't they?
Yeah, South London, I think.
We're about 30, 40 miles away. So,
Oh,
but
okay. But
yeah, reasonably local derby,
yeah,
I
and
suppose.
Barnet
So
holds a special place in your heart, doesn't it? I think, or
yeah, absolutely right.
you've been to Underhill before.
I have been to Underhill, mate. I
Hmm.
saw the pre-season friendly against the Arsenal. That was many moons ago. I'm not even
Hmm.
sure. I don't think they play the games at Underhill anymore, do they?
I don't think
But
Underhill exists anymore.
does it not? That's a real shame. That's a real shame.
No.
But anyway, we'll bring it back. We'll just bring it back. There's two more points I want to go through. Then we'll wrap it up. Just we touched on the Brighton game just a little bit ago, mate. Back into the cup competitions. That's what it's all about.
Hmm.
So, do you feel that we've got this game against Brighton? We have Wolves on Saturday night. It's Saturday night party night. Yeah, that's right.
Hmm.
Um, and then we are on the break for the World Cup. Your thoughts on what we should do? I don't mean like a whole 11. I just mean what are your thoughts and what the sort of lineup do you think will go? Do you think we'll go strong? Do you think we'll go under 23s or a mixture of both, like the Europa League?
I think it'll be similar to what we do in the Europa League. I think maybe a bit more of a younger squad. I think Fabio Vieira might start. I think Marquinhos might get a nod in as well. Rob Holding might play. Kieran Tierney, as you mentioned, might play at left back. I think Nketiah might start over Jesus. I don't know, possibly.
I
I
thought he
think
might
it'll be
play with him and Nelson, so have the three of them.
potentially. I think it'll be a rotated squad, definitely.
Yeah.
And Brighton have done all right this season. I think without Graham Potter, they've stalled a
Mm.
little bit. But I think they'll give us a good go, depending on what
Yeah.
team they put out.
Yeah, that's why I'm quite. I want us to sweep the boards. I think we've seen clubs like City and others pick up League Cup, which would then lead to more trophies
Yeah.
coming up their way. Momentum, I
Mm.
think, is a massive thing, especially in this season. So I'd rather like us.
Mm.
And I do understand the necessary
Yeah.
idea of
Big
rotating, but I want to keep as
te-
strong as we could.
I know teams like us
Mm,
use competitions like the Carabao Cup to rotate the squad and give
yeah,
youth players a chance to make the players happy. I suppose.
yeah.
If playing Football Manager or Championship Manager back in your day has taught me anything, is that you
Mm-hmm.
got to make the squad happy. So you got to use them in the cup competitions.
Absolutely right. But I think we might end it near enough in We'll go. I know it's a stab in the dark prediction time. What are your thoughts for a score on this?
2-0 to Arsenal.
2-0 to Arsenal. Well, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
I do feel that we're going to go through a little bit of a wobble, and maybe Brighton might score, but I do like us
maybe.
2-1. I like Arsenal 2-1 on this one.
Yeah. It might be like the Ebbsfleet Halifax game. Not Ebbsfleet Halifax. Yeah. The Ebbsfleet Halifax game. We seem to do well. We score first. Brighton then play well, equalise, and we're a bit wobbly. Brighton end up parking the bus, and then we get a good goal in the second half, and we're back up and running, which is sort of what the Ebbsfleet game was like. But yeah, enough of that. Both my teams are doing so well. I'm not used to this.
It's nice seeing you so positive and up and shouting down the microphone. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
I know. I know. Usually, at this time around this time of year, when it comes to football, I'm like, no, I hate everything. Everything's so bad, and it's all.
Yeah.
But no.
It's all going nicely, isn't it? All going swimmingly.
Yeah, it's all coming up. Millhouse.
It certainly is. We mentioned we have the Wolves game in the Premier League on Saturday. We'll bring more details on that as and when it happens on Twitter. As I just put my final banner up, Posh, would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen who may or may not be watching where they can find you?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at Posh Bertie. My Instagram is at Bertie Wanless. And also Gooner Gathering on Twitter, etc. That you can do that. You can have your own Twitter and etc.
And absolutely, you can find me on Gooner Lee Meads on Twitter. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a load of nonsense, but we wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly.
And yeah, so we'll be back possibly over the weekend. We'll see you.
Absolutely.
Good night from everyone here. Au revoir. See you later.